Most people fear the dark, but for Sami, the night was just routine. He was an ordinary office worker, taking the same route every single day. His life revolved around the old city terminal, crumbling concrete station that felt like it belonged to another century. But tonight was different. The clock had just ticked past 2 a.m. A massive deadline had kept him late, and as he stood on the deserted platform, the cold wind felt like needles against his skin, a stark reminder of how alone he was. Sami knew the rules of the station. The last bus for the living always left at 1:30 a.m. sharp. He was stranded just as despair began to set in, and he started looking for a sheltered corner to wait out the night. He noticed a figure. At the far end of a rusted bench sat an old man, cloaked in a tattered trench coat, a hat pulled low over his face. His skin looked like gray parchment, stretched too tightly over his bones. Sami, his voice trembling slightly from the cold, walked over. "Excuse me, sir. I think we missed the last bus. It's 2 a.m. Without even looking up, the old man spoke. His voice was a low, grating sound, like grinding stones. "The last bus for the living has gone, but the last bus for the weary, that one is yet to arrive." Sami was confused. "I've worked in this city for a year. I've never heard of a 2 a.m. service." The old man finally shifted slightly. "That's because you were always in a hurry to live. Tonight, you're just in a hurry to get home? Stay. It's coming." Sami had no choice. He had no money for a cab, and the walk home through the dark woods was unthinkable. So he waited. As the minutes crawled by, a thick, unnatural fog began to roll over the tracks, swallowing the dim station lights, and out of that white mist, a massive, black silhouette appeared. It was an old-fashioned bus, the kind from the 1970s. It moved in total 80 sirens, no engine roar, no screeching brakes. The doors creaked open with the heavy sound of a casket lid. Hesitantly, Sami stepped inside. The air was thick and heavy, smelling of damp earth and rotting flowers. The bus was full. Rows of passengers sat perfectly still, their heads bowed as if in prayer or mourning. Sami found an empty seat near the back and sat down. He leaned over to the man sitting next to him, a man wearing a suit that looked decades old. "Hey, do you know where this bus drops off?" The man slowly, mechanically, turned his head. Sami's heart stopped. The man had no eyes, only hollow, black pits staring back at him. His jaw was hanging by a single thread of muscle, his skin a sickly, translucent blue. At that moment, every single passenger in the bus turned their heads in unison. Some had shattered skulls, visible through their torn skin. Others wore clothes soaked in old, dried blood. They weren't passengers, they were victims. Panic surged through Sami. He lunged for the doors, but there were no handles, no emergency release. He desperately looked at the driver's rear-view mirror for help, and he saw him. The old man from the station was behind the wheel, but his reflection wasn't that of a man. It was a face of bleached white, bone skull. The driver's voice echoed through the silent bus, the same grinding tone from the platform. "Exactly 1 year ago, Sami, a bus swerved off the bridge near the station. You were walking by. You heard the screams from the water, didn't you? But you didn't call for help. You didn't want to miss your own bus home. The memory, once buried, flooded back. The news report he'd glanced at, the faint screams he had drowned out with his headphones, telling himself it was just the wind. The driver continued, "We've been driving in circles ever since, waiting for our final passenger. Welcome home, Sami." The next morning, the station master found Sami's briefcase sitting neatly on the bench. There was no sign of a struggle, no trace of him. But when the police reviewed the CCTV footage from the night before, they saw something impossible. The footage showed Sami standing on the platform, talking to thin air. Then he simply walked toward a solid brick wall and evaporated into it. On that very wall, a small, weathered memorial plaque read, "In memory of the 40 souls lost in the bridge accident of January 24th, may they finally find their way home." Sami hadn't missed the bus. The bus had finally found him.